water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the brown boy Wonder, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the podcasting world needed him the most, he vanished. 100 years passed, and my brother and I discovered the new brown boy Wonder, an airbender named Abrar. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Abrar can save the podcasting world.
Welcome to the Brown Boy Wonder podcast. In this episode, we're going to cover episodes 11 through 17 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's getting good. My guest here is Skyler. Skyler, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Today we're talking about 7 episodes instead of 5. Kind of playing catch up because we missed a week. So
Yeah, we did.
Ready to talk about some Avatar.
Alrighty, well, let's get into episode 11, The Great Divide. This one, I feel like it's more of a filler episode, but it's still a good episode. It's more like a character development for each character. But in the beginning, we see Sokka and Katara fighting, more of like a siblings fighting type of thing.
Yeah, this is a classic episode. One of those ones where it always seemed to be on TV whenever you watch Nickelodeon as a kid. It was like this episode came up a lot for some reason, or at least in my experience, it did.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's all about Aang having to solve everybody's problems.
Yeah, he's more of like a peacemaker.
Mhm.
When these two tribes came along in the canyon, they're at the canyon, right?
Yeah, they have to basically cross the Grand Canyon.
But yeah, these two tribes hate each other for some reason back in the past, but we'll get into that at the end. But had to go through this canyon, and the tour guide said no food in a canyon. I think that's the worst rule of all time. It's like going on vacation with no food.
Yeah, well, he had a good point though, where he was like either hungry for a day or dead.
Well, what he was talking about was the canyon crawlers, and they look like big spiders.
Yeah, they were kind of spidery, kind of like they're definitely insect type things. I know spiders are arachnids, but these things they look like bugs. But
Yeah,
they're also kind of furry.
Yeah, a little furry. Kind of reminds me of like Helldivers bugs.
Yeah,
For those who play the game.
big
But
scary
yeah,
bugs.
they now they're stuck in the canyon. And it kind of reminds me of the movie with James Franco, 24/7 Hours.
Why? No one got stuck. No one cut their arms off. Spoilers.
I mean, they're in a canyon, right? And they're stuck. So I was like, oh,
Okay.
it's like that movie.
Um. Let me ask you a question. The
Yeah.
entire point of this episode, like I said, is Aang trying to solve like a rift between these two tribes that hate each other. One is like really clean and snobby, and one is really like dirty and like brutish barbarian kind of guys. Which tribe would you rather be in?
That's a good question. I'll go with the barbarians because they know what to do. It looks like they know how to survive.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think you would say the barbarians. I thought you'd say the clean boys.
Why?
Because that guy that ran up at the beginning and was like, "I'm here first." It was voiced by Robin from Teen Titans.
Oh, is that him? Didn't catch that.
That one was very clear. In the episodes we're going to talk about, he shows up a bunch in this season for some reason. It's like I always notice, like, oh, it's that guy. But yeah, no, that one was very clearly he was just being Robin from Teen Titans. I thought it was funny.
So, okay, I didn't know that. Uh, when Katara and Sokka was fighting each other, they're fighting over like how to assemble a tent or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, but now they are pretty much like each. So Sokka and Katara, they're kind of siding on the opposite tribes, so they are on like their own like way of thinking, I guess.
yeah.
And and
You know what? There's another question. Is their initial argument was Tara said, "Put up the tarp above the tent in case it rains," and Sokka's
yeah.
like, "It's not gonna rain. It's dry season. I'm not doing it." Who's right in this argument?
So weather's unpredictable, right? So I would go with Katara.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Sokka knows what he's talking about.
I mean, you notice it didn't rain in the episode, so.
It didn't. Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, okay, Sokka. Okay, okay. Um, later on, they're eating. Oh yeah, they've also they brought their own food. I think each tribe brought their own food in the canyon, which is not allowed.
Yeah, each tribe brought food and said, "Well, we know the other guys were gonna do it, so we might as well."
Mm. Uh,
Uh, yeah. And
they. You go ahead.
the reason that we're given the big argument why these two tribes hate each other is because they both had like folklore heroes
Mhm.
named Jin Wei and Wei Jin, and like the story was like uh Jin Wei of the Clean tribe was running across the countryside trying to get like this spiritual orb to its destination, but then dirty rotten scoundrel Wei Jin stepped in and uh, stole it, attacked him and stole the orb. But then the other side believed that Jin Wei got hurt. Wei Jin was trying to help and then was
Mhm.
wrongfully imprisoned. And that's why they all hate each other for many, many, many years.
I do like when they're talking about their own side of stories. Like there's like a different animation when it comes to that. I was like, oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty neat.
that is cool. I like that a lot.
But yeah,
Uh, and,
the
and then because everybody brought food,
yes.
of course the crawlers attack. Also, let's talk about the tour guide in this episode. He gets jacked up very early on.
Yes.
Both of his arms broken. He can't bend anymore, and he starts going full PTSD. Like they're in the trees, man. And
Yeah,
Aang's just like, well, I guess I'm in charge now.
yeah. Like we said before, he's like the peacemaker here. The Nightcrawlers came out and Aang pretty much, uh, beat, they kind of defeated them and then they escape. And we
Yeah.
also realized that Aang is 112 years old.
Well, we already knew that.
Did we? Okay, I guess he like
Well,
re
I guess I don't know if they specifically say that he's 12 before, like he was
yeah.
12, but we know that he was in that iceberg for 100 years. So
Yeah. So I mean, that's what caught me. Like, oh, he said I'm 112 years old. Like, oh, okay.
yeah, the fact that he identifies as that,
Yeah,
he's like,
that's
well,
pretty old. The when they talk about the crawlers or night crawlers, I was always thinking about the movie again, the Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm like, oh, what
oh,
if they put his face on the crawlers?
ooh, that'd be good. Do you think Jake Gyllenhaal yelled at Rebecca Ferguson? Leave your comments. Do you think it was him?
What
I'm not
what
sure.
what movie were they in?
They were in Life,
Life. Oh, okay, okay.
the
The
one with
the
the little
space movie.
space germ that kills people. Ryan
Maybe.
Reynolds was also in that though. Do you think maybe
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds yelled at her?
I don't see him. I don't see a yelling type from him. But he made that movie If, so I don't know.
Ooh, maybe we'll yell at him.
um, yeah. So at the end of this episode, we figure out like this. Aang was like, "Hey, man, I know the story," and he's like, "This pretty much was like a soccer match between these two guys."
Yeah,
And at the end, they're like, the two tribes like, "Oh, okay, we cool."
It was all just a game. Jinwei was taking the ball to try to score, but he fell. Then Wei Jin went out of bounds, and he got put not in prison, but in penalty box. It's just like, oh, haha, that's funny. And Sokka and Katara are like, wow, Aang, that's really funny. That's really cool. It's crazy that you were alive back then and you knew those guys. And Aang's like, no, I made it up. They just
Perfect.
have a moment of holy shit. He's just like, I couldn't fix it, so I just fucking lied. But it worked.
It did work. It did work. My favorite line of this episode is the tour guide. He said at the end of the episode, he's like, "I'm sick of this place." And
My
and
favorite
then
line of this episode is when we see like them all eating at night, and we see like uh Tara is like partaking with that tribe, and they start explaining like why they did it, why they brought food, and Katara's like, well, I guess that makes sense. And then on the other side, Sokka's with the other people, and they pull out the food, and Sokka's just so happy to see food. He's eating it, and they're like, well, we only brought the food, and Sokka's not even listening. He's just like eating all the food. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care.
that was a good scene. But yeah, that's pretty much episode 11 there.
Yeah. Good, classic fun episode. Nothing really too heavy happens. Some cool monsters. We get to see more Sokka Katara dynamic.
Yeah.
Them being bickering siblings, and then Aang problem solves. Classic episode.
Good episode, good episode. But let's get into episode 12. It's called The Storm. Not Jade
Ooh,
Cargill, but it's
she the
called The Storm.
is she the storm?
That she calls herself The Storm.
When did she start doing that?
Last Friday.
Oh, I didn't see Friday. That's my bad.
That's right, that's right.
But anyways, um, yeah, no. You said the last one was kind of filler-ish or like felt filler-y. This one, very important episode.
Yeah, it's very important. Gyatso is in Aang's nightmares.
Yeah.
Um, and Aang is not is Aang is terrifying in these nightmares. I forgot what happened in the nightmare per se. Do you remember?
I remember the episode opens with like he's having this dream where it's like was it Katara or no, Sokka's flying on the glider and Katara's flying on a giant Momo, and
Yeah,
he's like, that's cool. Nothing wrong here. Like that's a giant ass Momo, dude. That's
yeah,
scary.
man. Like I said, do I trust him? I'm starting to trust him now.
He's proven his worth at this point.
Yeah, he's helping to save the gang from the pirates, and okay, I understand the guy now. Um,
Yeah, the main important thing about this episode is we see Aang's backstory and
yeah,
we see Zuko's backstory.
yes,
I think I mean Aang's stuff has like kind of been hinted at before. Like obviously he ran away from home. Obviously he mentioned before like he was kind of disinterested in big peacekeeping avatar stuff. Like he didn't really want to take on that responsibility. He just wanted to like play games and
yeah,
ride fish and stuff. So I feel like watching the episode, the show from the beginning, you kind of see this coming from his point of view. But I think the very interesting part of this episode, obviously, would be Zuko's side of the episode, where we delve fully into his banishment, why he was banished, his dynamic with his father.
yeah. Zuko got his ass beat by his dad.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of WrestleMania 39, where Rey Mysterio spanked his son Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, but Dominic had it coming though.
Yeah, that's true, but not Zuko. Not Zuko.
No, not Zuko versus his father, the Fire Lord, in Cinnamon Toast Crunch match.
Yeah, man, I can't believe that. Why was that sponsored? But yeah, in Aang's backstory, he is more Aang is more upset because because he's the Avatar, right? He's like
Yeah.
the smartest guy in the room. No
Yeah.
one could relate to him. That's why he's like he's on his own. Is his own level, so no one can
Yeah.
relate to him.
Like the
Um,
second that people learn he's the Avatar, like his friends don't want to play games with anymore because they're like, "Oh, you're the Avatar. It's not fair. You'll beat us." And then these monks are coming up to him, being like, "You have to solve the world's problems now," you know. And
yeah.
Gyatso's like, "Dude, I didn't want to tell you. We shouldn't have even told you until you're like 16 or something. Like, we're not supposed to tell you when you're 12 years old. That's way too much."
Hmm. Yeah.
Also, we learn how they figure out who the Avatar is. Their process is like they lay out a bunch of uh, old toys, and
Yeah.
one of them is like an old toy of like a past Avatar. And if you pick that one, they're like, "Oh, this is this guy." Um, but I think that's a flawed system. I don't
Yeah.
like. What if
They
he
should.
just picked it because he thought it was a cool toy?
Yeah. It's like it's a good way to go with things. It's more like a chance, more like a lucky chance type of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, um, in the episode, Katara said to Sokka, like, because they had to talk to a fisherman in this episode. Um, she said like, "You go get a job, smart guy." I was like, again, it reminds me of something else. You know what that is?
Smart guy.
Yeah, smart guy, smart
The
guy.
show, the Disney Channel show. This discussion is off the rails. We're talking about wrestling, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and now we're talking about Smart Guy Disney Channel show with the little Maori brother. Always
Well, when they meet the fisherman, he's kind of sexist as well. Uh, he kind of looks like the guy, you know, the on in the grocery store where you trying to get like frozen fish, and there's a guy on that packet.
oh, the Gordon's fisherman.
Yeah, it looks like him.
Okay, okay.
That's what I thought.
Let
Uh,
me let me look up the fisherman
yeah,
real
type
quick.
fisherman avatar, and then
Okay, he does have a hat, and the Gordon's fisherman also has a hat, and he has a beard. You may be onto something here. I'm not
yeah,
normally whenever you say like this guy looks like that, it's very obvious and fast. No, what are you talking about? No, he doesn't. But this one, you're closer than normal, so I'm gonna let it pass. I'm gonna let it slide.
yes, that's a victory for me. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much the whole
Yeah,
point.
we covered Aang's side where like you know he doesn't want to be the Avatar, so he runs away. Like we all knew that was coming, and it's a big moment, big
Yeah,
powerful moment. Especially you see him once again get stuck in the ice and how he gets frozen. And then on Zuko's side, he's growing up. He wants to take on responsibilities. So he attends a meeting, like a war strategy meeting, and this this general or admiral or something is just like, oh, we're gonna send all these guys in. They'll probably die, but we don't care because we're the bad guys.
hmm,
And uh, Zuko is like, no, you shouldn't let them die. That's terrible. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. That thing, and
yeah,
then then uh the general's all upset, and the Fire Lord's like, well, we're gonna settle this in the ring.
pretty much.
We settle our problems in the ring, but then Zuko gets to the ring and he has to fight not the general but his father.
Yeah. Going ahead, the interesting fact for this episode was the flashback is a reference to Luke and Vader duel of Star Wars, the Empire Strikes Back.
The flashback is a reference
Yeah,
to.
two of them fighting each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Does it say that somewhere?
yeah, it did.
Oh, that's interesting. Just because it's a father fighting a son.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Um. Yeah, so Zuko sees he has to fight his father. He immediately like drops to his knees, like, I'm not gonna fight you, father. And then Ozai says, "All right, bet," and burns his eye off.
Yeah. So that's the reason why he has his eye
Yeah,
is a little scarred.
his dad did it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he said, "Get out of my country. You can't come back unless you bring me the Avatar."
That's a bad dad. I don't
Oh
like that.
yeah. Let me ask you this: did you notice maybe a little bit of foreshadowing here? Did you notice in the part where Zuko gets his eye burnt? You don't see it, but you hear it. Uh, so Iroh's in the crowd, and he looks like really like torn up, like sad, like he
Yeah.
can't watch. But there's someone standing next to Iroh. Did you notice this?
No, I did not.
There's someone standing next to. I won't give any more information, but it's someone standing next to Iroh, and that person is smiling.
Oh. Wonder who that is.
Well, maybe we'll get to it.
All right, all right. Um, at the end of this episode, Sokka got paid through fish.
Oh yeah, I like the part earlier where the fisherman is like saying like, "I don't need you, wife. I'm gonna go get the fish and I'll get someone else to help and I'll pay them double." And Sokka's like, "I'll get paid double," and he's like, "Who said I'd pay you double?" Then he gives him a fish, which I guess if he paid him double, that means that he normally pays his wife half a fish.
Yeah, she needs to get out of that relationship.
Yeah, she needs to. She needs to sort herself out.
All right, that's episode 12. Let's get
Full and
into
powerful episode, very good episode.
good episode. Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite episodes here. It's episode 13, the Blue Spirit.
Ooh.
The beginning of the episode, you see Sokka and Katara. They're sick. They need help, and this is the time for Momo to shine.
Oh, for Momo to prove his worth.
Yes,
This is his moment.
this is moment.
Does he live up to that moment?
Man, well, throughout the whole episode, he came back not with water, but with a rat. But that reminds me of, remember in Lone Survivor where Mark Wahlberg asked the kid for the knife and he brought a chicken to him?
I've never seen The Lone Survivor.
Oh man, so that was the whole point. That was the whole joke.
You
So
you
he
could
brought
have
a
said
chicken.
you could have said that bit from the Guardians of the Galaxy 2,
Oh, okay,
where
yeah.
Groot keeps bringing them different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. There we go.
Uh,
Perfect.
I don't make a habit of watching too many Mark Wahlberg movies, bro.
There's some good out there. Some good movies out there. Good Mark movies out there. Not
Yeah,
Uncharted.
like Transformers: The Last Night,
Dude, that is the
the worst movie ever made
ever made.
for that
Goz,
budget, definitely.
yeah, Godzilla X Kong is better than that.
Ooh, that's a different podcast. I haven't
um,
seen it yet, but there's some gifts going around.
oh, man, it's a funny movie. It's a funny movie.
I guess so.
All right, so Aang needs to get some random some
He needs
medicine
to
for
find medicine. Yeah, he finds a witch.
she
He
finds a
finds a
witch.
straight up kooky witch, and he's like, "I need to heal my friends." And she starts brewing potions and poultices and whatever the hell she's doing, and then she starts like, "Oh no, this is for me. You just need to find some frogs."
Yeah, frogs who sucked on. I'm like, whoa.
Whoa, whoa.
I was like, this is a kids show. What's going on here?
Excuse me. Well, ooh, Nickelodeon.
Yeah, dark,
No, 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 no,
quiet on the
no.
set.
None of that came here.
No, definitely not. It's a cartoon show. Dan isn't on this.
Ooh, gross.
Yeah. So Aang is being chased by the archers. It's a cool scene here when he was running away.
Yeah, they set them up very quickly as we have these super unstoppable, crazy accuracy archers, and here they are.
There they are, and the Fire Nation capture Aang.
Yep, he loses the frogs.
He loses the frog. I feel like
Actually, not all of them, because he's like dropping frogs all throughout this episode.
yeah, he was. I feel like the gang is always getting captured by the Fire Nation, like every episode.
Well, that's the danger. That's who's hunting them.
Yeah. But throughout the whole episode, you see this masked man entering the Fire Nation's place, and I wonder who it is.
Well, not just the Fire Nation. It is newly appointed Admiral Zhao.
Oh,
He's
okay.
the one. He's the one. Been a thorn in our side, and now he's here again, and he's the one that like asked for the archers, and he catches the Avatar, and he's like, "Avatar, I got you, and I'm not gonna kill you because then you'll just come back as someone else."
Mm-hmm. Even maybe
Uh,
even powerful.
but then, yeah, this masked person, who we later learn is referred to as the Blue Spirit,
Blue
name of the
Spirit.
episode,
Yes.
shows up, and he wrecks shop.
Yep. He's like Stone Cold with a steel chair, hitting everyone. He helps Aang to escape. And he found the frogs as well.
A lot of
Uh,
good choreography in this episode.
yes.
A lot of cool moments, set pieces, action. Very fun with a big twist payoff at the end.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a more of like a rescue movie or episode. So I think towards the end, when they're about to escape, they're all up front with the masked man and Aang. The masked man took Aang as a hostage and going backwards.
Yeah, it's a really
Um,
cool moment.
it's a good scene. Is that in the movie? The Last Airbender.
I believe they recreate that moment in both the bad movie and the not very good television show.
Oh, okay. So
They
I
they
can't wait
that
for that.
moment they're like, yeah, we got to keep doing that.
Okay, can't wait for that. But yeah, so they got off a little bit further away, but then the one of the archers, uh, Gyatso, not Gyatso, he hit Zuko's. Oh, sorry,
Oh, you spoiled it!
excuse me, I sneezed, I
Oh,
sneezed, I
fell
sneezed.
apart right at the end. The Blue Spirit, the Blue Spirit.
Yeah, he hit the blue spirit, and the blue spirit got knocked out. And Aang is like, man, what happened? And then you see a little bit of the guy's face behind the mask, and it was, you say it, Skyler.
Prince Zuko all
Yeah.
along.
Whoa, what's going on?
That's crazy.
He noticed about the scar on his eye. He's like, oh, that looks like looks like a little Zuko right there. But yeah, and then that's pretty much how they end it, right? Or then Aang just escapes and helps
Yeah,
Sokka and
well,
Katara.
there is a really cool moment where they have escaped and Zuko's unconscious from getting shot in the head, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then Zuko starts to wake up, and Aang starts like talking to him, and he says like, "I wonder if things were different if we could have been friends." And Zuko's
Yes.
response to that is to try to burn his head off.
Yeah.
But
Weird,
then
weird relationship here.
Aang gets away. Um, Again, I think officially at this point, everyone's like, "Oh, Zuko, come on, just be a good guy."
Yeah, he's battling his own battles here. You know, he is don't know if he's want to be a good guy or wants to be a bad guy. He's like right
Yeah.
in the middle.
And
Uh,
this episode coming after the storm, we now like fully understand like it's Zuko, it's not his choice. Like he's like, this is the only thing I can do to go home to my dad who burned my eye off.
yeah.
It's the only thing I can do. Uh, and so that's why it's so important to him.
Um, um, they Aang gave Sokka and Katara the frogs to suck on, and then
They were
it
sucking
became
on them
better.
frogs,
Yup.
and Momo
Uh,
didn't do a goddamn thing to help.
no, he didn't do anything. He literally didn't do anything this episode.
They're
But he tried.
like,
He tried.
Sokka came very. He was gonna die. He came
Yeah,
very close to just death.
yeah. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Interesting fact for this episode: this episode was ranked number 15 in the 100 greatest moments in Nicktoon history.
Wow, greatest moments in Nicktoon history.
Nicktoon. So that's like
What's higher than like? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like more things up the top 10 were more Avatar moments.
Maybe, or it could be like maybe from SpongeBob or something.
I'm thinking like Danny Phantom,
Oh,
Fairly Odd Parents at when we were kids.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
not
yeah.
Fairly Odd Parents now. But
Maybe like the crossover between Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents.
oh, the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour.
Yeah, I think that's like
That's
number two at
pretty
least.
good. That's pretty good.
That moment would
Maybe
not be recreated again.
no, because Jimmy Neutron's not on TV anymore.
Yep. But yeah, that is episode 13. Great episode. Probably one of my favorites here. But let's get into episode 14, The Fortune Teller. Before we get into that, I do want to apologize to the ones who are listening. There are a lot of wrestling references here. I'm sorry because WrestleMania is around the corner, and all I'm thinking about is will Cody finish the story? I don't know.
Ooh, will Cody finish the story? Will Aang finish his story?
Oh, we'll find out soon. We'll find
We will
out
find out.
soon.
At this point, if you're listening to the Brown Boy Wonder podcast, you have to know some wrestling. Sorry,
Yeah, there are
like
a lot of wrestling episodes
it's gonna
here. You should know
happen.
something.
You got to know that Rey Mysterio fought his son Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania in a cinnamon toast crunch match.
Oh man, great match. But yeah, episode 14, The Fortune Teller. Uh, this episode, if I remember correctly, it was more very romantic. I'll say.
Uh huh.
Um, Katara pretty much friend zoned Aang throughout this whole
Oh
episode.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh, I forgot who was weaving and dodging that bear. Was it Sokka?
No, it was just some guy.
Okay.
Some guy, because we learn soon that there's this fortune teller lady who she's giving out fortunes to everybody. Uh, and this guy, his fortune was like, "You're not gonna die," or something like that. It was something
Yeah.
like, "You won't come to harm today." And so he's walking along and he finds this big ass. It's actually a platypus bear, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And this thing is like actively trying to kill him, but he's just kind of like ducking and weaving, no worries in the world. He's never seen the Revenant, and he's not even scared. And then the Avatar gang shows up and they chase off this bear. Appa yells at it and it shits itself. And then the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I had it handled, but whatever." And everyone's like, "Dude, you could have died. You like that was bad." He was like, "No, no. I was specifically told I wouldn't get eaten today." And then they're
um,
like, "Let's go check out this fortune teller."
this
Uh,
fortune teller is very influential in this village,
yeah,
and
it's almost like if this wasn't like a funny episode, it could have been a scary episode because it's like they
yeah,
have like a cult belief in this lady,
her name was Aunt Wu.
Aunt Wu. That's
Aunt
right.
Wu. We found out Ming uh, likes Aang, but Aang
Oh, this,
doesn't like her back.
this little creepy girl that's stalking him around the village.
Yeah. Um, this I don't know if you watch Hey Arnold, but it reminds me of like Arnold is
Helga.
and Helga, but then
Yeah.
Arnold loves like Ruth. Ruth, I think that's her name.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Okay.
kind of like that. That's all I was thinking there. But yeah, so pretty much we know Aunt Wu is a scam. She should go to jail. Um,
Well, okay. So while you're watching the episode, yeah, you definitely feel that way.
yeah.
But I will tell you something right now. This kind of it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler.
Oh, okay, Paul Heyman.
She says some things, some like fortunes that long term are real, like 100% factual.
Oh, damn.
Like some seeds were sown here.
Okay. Okay.
And it's not just what they tease at the end, because one of the big things is obviously Katara is very excited and like she wants to know her fortune. She's going there like every day,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like asking about like, oh, what kind of man will I marry or whatever stuff like that. And then she's told that she will marry a very powerful bender.
Yes.
And it's funny that like not even like a moment did she think like, oh, well, Aang's the Avatar. Like that didn't even cross her mind until
Yeah.
later in the episode. Sokka referred to him as a very powerful bender. It's like, well, yeah, dude, he's the Avatar.
Oh man. Okay.
But that's not even necessarily what I'm referring to when I say like prediction spoiler stuff.
Okay. Okay.
But she threw out a couple of other things that things just happened to play out exactly like that.
So will Aang fall in love then?
Oh, Aang's already in love.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. Um,
Uh,
Ming says something pretty powerful or pretty like correct. She said like it's hard when you like someone, but they don't like you back the same way.
yeah,
That's just truth.
everyone's feeling that.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
Aang's feeling it, Ming's feeling it, the viewers at home are feeling it.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, same here, fam.
Damn.
I will. Okay, so I did say like Aunt Wu said some stuff that does come true, but
Okay.
obviously, she has also said things that don't come true. Because the whole reason that Ming's obsessed with Aang is because he was told that she would fall in love and marry a man with big ears, and she's like, "Oh, this kid's got big ears. This kid's a little bald freak. I love this guy." Uh, and Aang's just not feeling it. And then the big point of the episode is she comes out and she's like, "Let me look at the clouds. Yep. All right, that big volcano over there, it's not gonna murder us all." And everyone's like, "Yay!" And Sokka's like, "This is fucking bullshit. We need to check this shit out." They go up to the volcano, and they're like, "Oh no, this thing's erupting today."
Yeah.
And then Aang and the crew
They
they
saved the volcano or the erupting volcano
they do
potentially.
they get the town to go along to prevent the volcano from destroying the village by reshaping the clouds into and making Aunt Wu like do another prediction, and then she comes out and she's like, "Oh, that cloud specifically says we're fucked and we gotta do something." Which really comes into the main theme of this episode, and Aunt Wu even says it. She doesn't say this quote from Terminator like I'm about to, but there is no fate but what we make.
Wow. Was that from Dark Fate Terminator?
That is from every Terminator film. that is like the slogan of the entire thing.
Perfect. But yeah, so Aang and the crew save the village, and they're on their way to somewhere else, to the North Pole. But I do have an interesting fact here. When Sokka kicks a pebble and it bounces off in a nearby sign, hitting someone's head, a Chinese character showed up, and it reads, the character, but it also means a good blessing.
What does that mean?
I don't know. That's
So he
what
kicked
that's
a he kicked a pebble and it hit a sign, and the sign in what is it, Mandarin,
Mandarin. Yeah,
said a good blessing.
yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know what it means, but that's interesting.
I don't know. We'll find out hopefully. But yeah, that's episode 14. Let's get into episode 15. The
Bato of the
but
Water Tribe.
yes, the Bato of the Water Tribe. This is a good episode. Bato. You know what Bato kind of reminds me of?
I have no idea what you're about to say. No, it could be
um.
anything.
Yeah.
Hold on, folks. It could be anything.
Well, it reminds me of Grandpa Johnny Tsunami because of his long
Okay,
hair in the
okay.
water. He's
You should have
surfing.
known. Should have known. Longtime viewers will know, and any followers on TikTok, because you put a clip of it on TikTok,
Yep.
will know. This guy won't stop talking about Johnny Tsunami.
It is a great movie. A
And
great character.
when this becomes a clip, I want you to know, I don't promote this. I don't promote all this obsession over Johnny Tsunami.
How do you know I'm gonna post a clip of this? I might not.
Well, you have to now.
I have to know. All right. Yeah. So it's a good episode. The Fire Nation hired a bounty hunter. Her name was
Yeah, this
yeah. Her
is it would probably not surprise you to know that a lot of fans really like this character
oh really?
for some reason.
Oh, because she's like a good bounty hunter.
No, because she's a goth mommy.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, she's basically Rhea Ripley
Oh, okay. Let
with
her
a
rip.
big mole creature.
Ooh, okay. Let her rip. Diarrhea. Yeah.
Oh, come on now.
She she gets things done. That's the uh her side of a character.
Yeah,
She gets things done.
her name is June.
June. The Fire
And
Nation arrived the fortune teller place, and it looks like Uncle Iroh and Uncle Anwu are like hitting it off.
ooh, you know the women are drawn to Iroh. He's got the riz.
Oh, I can see it. But yeah, when are they gonna get married? Anytime in this whole show?
No.
Ah, damn it.
Don't hold out
Well,
hope for that.
they're the perfect
You've
match.
already made predictions for the Penguins. You know what? Who am I to stop you? You can make a prediction if you want.
Okay, Aunt Wu and Uncle Iroh will get married in this series.
I love how confidently you said that after I already said no. But all right, that's the third official prediction. The Penguins are gonna turn on Aang was the first one. Uh the second one is that the Pirates will help Aang.
Yeah, I still believe that.
Yo, do you? And then the third one is that Aunt Wu and Uncle Iroh will get married.
I
Okay,
can see it.
that's I'm gonna have to start writing these down somewhere because
Oh, no,
we're,
we'll remember.
we got to see if you make any outlandish prediction that actually comes true, that'll be huge.
Um, just wait, just stay tuned. But this whole point of this episode is, uh, pretty
On
much,
Aang's side of it, yeah,
yeah,
they find a water tribe warrior who was part of Sokka and Katara's father's crew.
yes,
He got injured and he was like left in this this abbey to heal, and it's a big. He's basically like an uncle to them, and they're
hmm
very happy to see him, and uh, they're so happy to see him that they kind of like neglect Aang, and Aang like gets pushed to the side, and this makes Aang worry, like he feels like he's getting like left by himself,
yeah,
and what if they want to go back and, like to find their father, and they just leave Aang. He has to go do all his Avatar stuff by himself. Uh, to the point where uh, this messenger shows up and he's like, I have the letter. We know where Katara and Sokka's father is." That's what he says. And
hmm
then Aang's like, "Oh, okay, I'll give it to him." And he crumples it up and puts it in his pocket. And he's like, "I can't give it to him. They'll leave me. I'm just a little boy. I'm just a 112-year-old little boy."
yeah,
Uh, and when he comes clean and tells them like, "I have this letter and I hid it because I didn't want you to leave me."
hmm
All of his fears come true, and Sokka immediately tries to leave him.
him,
Angry, he's very angry, and so he's being stupid. But he immediately is like, "Come on, Katara, we're gonna leave this little idiot to die in the cold by himself. We're leaving." And Bato's just like, "Well, dude, I don't know what to say."
yeah. Katara is crying. Going with Bato and Sokka. The gang is split.
Yeah.
Uh, the last 5 minutes of the episode, I think it was really good.
Oh, the entire fight sequence is awesome.
Yeah, I really like this. I really like the fight sequence here.
It's it's probably up there. I won't give specific like ranking or anything, but it's probably up there with like good, like within top 5 of like Zuko and Aang fights in the show.
Mm,
Definitely, I think the best of their confrontations in the season, just as far as like an actual fight choreography goes.
yeah, good scene. Aang reclaims Katara's necklace and he gave it to her
Yes, he
back.
does.
And yep, and then Katara and Sokka are like, man, I guess we can't leave this little dude, and he's part of the family.
That's true. Yeah, they nobody apologizes to anybody. I think Aang apologizes, but nobody else apologizes to anybody about some mean things that may have been said. But they're just like, no, we're family. We got to stick together.
Yeah, I think the silence was like apology. Like, oh, if we're all
Yeah.
silent, okay, we all get it.
We all
We
we
gotta
all
move.
we all did some things that were wrong, so we'll just
Yeah, so
let
we
it
just gotta
go.
move on.
Let's not skip over the best part of the entire episode
Oh, which one?
is when because they defeat the mole creature who like completely follows his sense of smell. Like he's blind other than that.
Yes, yes.
The abbey that they're fighting in is like stocked full of like perfumes and scents and stuff. So they knock all that over to blind him basically, and he hit like the mole thing can hit you with his tongue and paralyze you. So he hit Zuko. Zuko went down, and then he hit its own Master June, and
Hmm.
Iroh tried to jump in the way. Not really, but he was like, "No!" Grabbed her and just went down. And
Hey,
Zuko's
man.
like, "Uncle, I didn't see you get hit." Uncle Iroh's just like, "Uh." I
Hey,
love the
man.
little angry face she makes too when she hears that.
Yeah. Hey, man. That's Uncle Ira right there for you.
Yeah,
Uh,
I hope.
Um, June is like a mixture between Poison Ivy and Catwoman because she has the whip and it's like made of poison.
Yeah, okay, kind of. She's voiced by Jennifer Hale, who is a veteran of voice acting. She's in a lot of stuff. If anyone's played the Mass Effect game, she's the female Shepard in that.
Oh, okay.
She's pretty sure she was one of the Hex girls in Scooby Doo, the lead one.
Oh, oh, the
Uh,
Zombie Island.
no. The Hex girls were in The Witch's Ghost and then other stuff probably.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Jennifer Hale, she's really good.
All right, all right. Speaking of Zombie Island, it is now released on Blu-ray, remastered. So get your copy of that. I
Okay.
didn't. Yeah, I saw. I was like, hey, it looked like they remastered it, and I didn't buy it yet.
How do you?
Maybe.
Okay, I don't. I'm not opposed to this news, and you know what? God darn it, I would even buy it. But how do you just have that knowledge off the top of your head?
I just when I look at things, I just remember them. That's
Do
that's
you
just
do you follow like a Twitter of like, oh, we're putting this on Blu-ray, like Dawn of the Discs, but for uh yeah, like children's cartoon movies?
no. I mean, I just know.
Did you
I mean,
did you
if
specifically look up? Is there a Scooby-Doo Zombie Island Blu-ray?
it
There are.
was on my recommended list on Amazon. It's like, oh look, Zombie Island is available remastered. I was like, oh,
Okay, all right, that checks
because
out.
because that's my favorite. I think that's my favorite Scooby Doo movie.
Not the Cyber Chase.
Cyber Chase is good. That one's good. I'll say
Not
that's number two.
not the not the live action one.
Oh, the Scooby Doo movies? They're right. I,
No,
I,
Zombie Island's pretty good.
yeah.
This is
Are we
not
right?
Avatar related at all
No,
anymore.
no, no, it's not. For this episode, we have an interesting fact. In the scene where June is arm wrestling the local,
I already know what
uh,
you're gonna say. Yeah,
yeah, the one of the locals, the man she is arm wrestling bears a striking resemblance of Ryu from Street Fighter.
there's like a whole bunch of Street Fighter like characters in the background here. I think, or like characters roughly modeled or inspired by Street Fighter characters.
I like it. I like it a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, it's cool.
But I don't see any Kens out there.
Hey, you know what they say? I'm just Ken.
I'm just Ken. All right, let's get into episode 16, The Deserter. Uh, What happened here? Okay, I remember now. So they went to the festival, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a Fire Nation celebratory festival, and they want to scope it out, so they put on little disguises.
yeah.
And I like the part where the Aang puts on the sad face mask and Sokka puts on the big happy face mask, and Katara looks at it and it's like, no, let's just switch those.
Oh,
That's not right.
okay. When I was watching, I was like, oh, why did she switch? I guess I didn't look at their faces. That makes sense.
Yeah, because Sokka's a grump.
He's always
Yeah,
grumpy, and Aang is always happy.
he's the happy guy. Yeah, so they go and they check it out, and there's a guy putting on a big stage show where he's fire. But and it's funny because I said this while I was watching it. Uh, just like if you're part of the Fire Nation, and granted they are in the Earth Kingdom, but these are all people that are like celebrating the Fire Nation. So I don't imagine there's too many like Earth Kingdom people who are under occupation coming to this festival.
Hmm.
So if you're like pro Fire Nation and you show up and there's a guy doing tricks with fire, but it's basically just firebending, is that cool? Is that special?
I think it's special.
I mean, I get it's about as special as like if you see a guy doing tricks with a yo-yo. Just like I can't do it,
I
but
can't either. It's not as great, but
sure.
it's like a
Yeah.
small. It's a small talent you can learn,
Maybe
but no
fire's
one
just
can.
cool, you know? Fire's cool. Play with fire.
Fire. Fire can
Kids,
be.
kids, if you're listening,
Fire. No, no. um.
play with fire, but only in Minecraft, where it'll not burn down your actual house.
Yeah, that's called arson. When they are leaving or running away, being chased out from the festival, it kind of reminds me of like I want to be like. It kind of reminds me of like Assassin's Creed. Like you want to be like an Assassin's Creed character.
You know what? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's weird because I kind of had that same thought for some reason
eh,
when watching this episode. Maybe it's just like the time period
may-
this came out. I don't know.
At least maybe it's the environment. Maybe. Um, but they escaped, and then they meet a old Fire Nation dude named Jong. Right? Is that his name? Jang?
That was his name, I think. Young. I don't
I think it's like
remember.
Jong Jong.
Uh, yeah. Keep going. I'm gonna look it up. Let me double
Yeah.
check.
So Jang or Jang Jong. Sorry. He teaches. He's trying to teach Aang the Fire Nation ways, or the fire power. Uh,
Yeah, his name is Zhang Zhang.
Jong Jong. So Jong Jong kind of reminds me of the guy from Cobra Kai.
I never
Uh,
watched Cobra Kai.
oh, you know the white guy from Cobra Kai?
I've never watched Cobra. I just said.
Well, he kind of reminds me of that. For those Cobra Kai fans out there, when he's teaching his Padwans. But yeah, you say Aang, he is experimenting the fire power, but he gets a little too crazy.
Yeah, he obviously we know he needs to learn firebending, and he just stumbled upon a guy who could teach him firebending because they're kind of thinking like it's going to be hard to find a firebender that doesn't want to kill me, right? So
Yeah,
uh they do find this guy and he's like, please, I need to know. Bad stuff's gonna happen. The dude's like, it's that classic Master Yoda on Dagobah thing where he's like, oh no, you're not ready. You're not
yeah,
ready. All right, I'll do it. And then the dude's taking it really slow. This is actually kind of a not so much a Karate Kid thing in the sense where wax on, wax off actually
yeah,
parallels certain moves or anything,
yeah,
but he does put him through training that he doesn't want to do. He's not taking it seriously because he's like, I just want to play with fire, dude. Uh,
yeah. It's like that wax on, wax off, or the Jackie
yeah,
Chan version, jacket on, jacket off.
I didn't see
I-
that one. Oh, jack it
uh,
off. I don't like that.
no.
I
So
don't like the sound of
no.
that.
Jaden Smith puts his jacket on the stick, and then
I'm
you
not
got to put it on.
I'm not gonna watch Jaden Smith jacket on a stick. I'm not gonna watch
no,
that.
Oh,
Jacket, like a jacket. Anyways,
Oh boy.
um,
Regardless, Aang Aang doing Aang stuff. You better control yourself, mister.
okay, go ahead.
Aang's doing Avatar stuff, and he's like, you know what? I could firebend real easy, and he immediately burns his best friend.
Yeah, he burns
He
Katara.
he lights Katara on fire, and then once again, Sokka comes in and he calls Aang a big piece of shit, and he's like, "You hurt
Yeah,
my sister. Fuck you. We're gonna leave." And I'm like, Sokka, what's going on? Why do you want to leave Aang behind so bad in these episodes?
uh, yeah, he's just not feeling him. He's messing up every time.
This is a vastly important moment in Aang's character, because now essentially going forward, he's like scared of firebending. Like
Yeah,
he's learned exactly what the point of the episode is trying to get across, is that, water is one way, earth is solid and rigid in another way, but fire is uncontrollable. It is like that gets away from you, it's destructive. That's what it's there. Fire is there to destroy.
hmm
So it's the thing you need to be most careful with. And
yeah,
he um he that's the lesson he's taken, is that, like, this is a power that I don't want to have to mess with, especially not right now, because I'm not ready. And so maybe in the future, when it comes time for him to actually learn firebending, like, this moment is going to hold him back.
yeah. Uh, it is a crucial moment for Aang. And we figure out that Katara can heal her own wounds, so she has some water bending that can do that.
Yeah. We'll learn about that more when we get to the North Pole, but we kind of see going forward that, like, every style of bending can do uh has the potential to do different things if you're,
Mhm.
like, powerful enough. In fact, I think we skipped over a very, very important part in the Storm episode.
Oh, which one? Oh, which part?
I'm pretty sure it was the Storm. It definitely happened in one of these episodes. It would make the most sense to be the Storm. But when Zuko and the ship are stuck in the actual storm, lightning's like hitting the storm, and Iroh, like a
Yeah.
like a boss, redirects it. I just said like a boss in 2024. That felt gross. I'm sorry. Don't clip that.
No.
Uh, yeah, no, he lets the lightning hit his hand, then he redirects it.
Yes.
That's huge, and we'll might be seeing more of that in the future.
Okay.
Firebenders and lightning. Uh,
Let's see.
but yeah, so, like, the healing property of water is definitely a major thing when it comes to the culture and style of water bending.
Very important.
And she just learned that she's good at it, apparently.
She's good. We get a great battle scene between Zhao and uh, what was his name again? Zhang.
Oh yeah, because Zhao
Zhao.
is uh
He came in. He came by.
his old master, Zhang Zhang.
Yes. So they did a little battle there. It was a great scene. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. There's
Um,
that cool shot where Zhao walks through the fire.
yeah, pretty cool. They fought, and then Aang is like, "All right, let me help out this guy again." And there's a part where Aang showed his butt to Zhao. I don't know if you saw that.
You're always talking about people showing their butts on this show. I didn't see
Hey,
that.
it was really quick. It was really quick. Um, but uh, Zhang was teaching about self restraint to Aang.
Yeah.
So upon realizing Zhao lacks this trait, he
Mm,
Aang manipulates Zhao into destroying his own ships.
pretty clever.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. And then they escaped. And then that's where I think he showed his butt.
I don't think that happened.
For those who are rewatching it, just tell me in the comments. I think he did.
I don't
think
know
he did.
what streaming site Abrar's watching Avatar on. He's watching the butt cut of Avatar, where everyone shows their butts.
So they escaped. Interesting fact for this episode: this is the only episode where Zhao appears, but Zuko does not.
Interesting. Interesting.
Sir, yes, sir. Well, let's get into our last episode for this episode. It is episode 17, the Northern Air Temple.
Yeah, this one is pretty good. I don't know. What do you think of this one?
I think it was okay.
Yeah. Uh, a lot of stuff picks up. I mean, there's good stuff in this episode for sure. It's probably not one of my favorites.
This is where the Earth Kingdoms like took over Aang's like temple, and they're like Aang
Yeah,
just gets pissed off,
just some guys, just some like
like
village
squatters.
set up shop. Basically, they're squatters. Uh, the main squatter of which would be a scientist and his son. They set up shop here, and yeah, they're flying by, and they see all these people flying around, and he's like, "Oh my god, airbenders!" And he gets closer,
No,
and they're not airbenders; they're just dudes with flying machines. Big deal. But
yeah,
Sokka's immediately like, "Oh, awesome!" Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
I know that
They,
Aang.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Aang is pissed. He was like, "Hey, man, you're messing with my temple." He was showing the scientist was showing like, "Hey, man, we're trying to improve this place." Aang's not having it, and the scientist gave that 4-0 candle joke. I don't know if you caught that.
Which joke?
So they had like a timer, like a like a clock, but it
Yeah.
goes through candles, and
Oh yeah. Oh, it's 4 candle. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Sokka thought it was funny.
he's yeah, but Aang did not. Aang did
No.
not.
These people could not have been more disrespectful of the Airbenders' ancestral home. They're like
Yeah,
they've completely like industrialized it. There's pipes running through everything. They've like taken heads off of statues and like desecrated like sacred pools. Like they've ruined this place, and like Aang has every reason to be upset. Like all things considered, he took it fairly well.
yeah. They
Just like,
pretty much,
oh, okay, just fuck my shit up, I guess.
yeah, they pretty much like gentrified his temple.
Yeah.
Um, but I do have a question for you. Would you try those gliders?
uh, yeah. I mean, Katara didn't get hurt. She did swallow a bug.
Yeah,
Thought that was funny.
I wouldn't. I'm afraid of heights.
Well, then you probably wouldn't be at the air temple to begin with.
Yeah, that's probably right.
It's pretty high up.
Yeah, it's pretty high. I think later on in this episode, we figure out that the scientist is making weapons for the Fire Nation. Like,
Mhm.
dude.
Yeah, he's. I don't remember if they go into like his reasoning behind it. Just like, oh, it's so they'll leave us alone or something.
Either that or like, oh, they're giving us
No,
money.
it is because that guy, the Fire Nation captain or whatever, he's like blatantly threatening him and being
Yeah,
like, if you don't make the stuff, we're gonna burn you down and throw you off the mountain. Which is essentially not what happens, but what they attempt to do because Aang comes in, puts the kibosh on that, says, "Get out of here, you!" And then they mount an assault, and it kind of becomes a little bit like the Battle of Helm's Deep. They have
uh,
they have to fight off this big invasion force of Fire Nation guys.
Interesting you said that because the next episode that we cover next week, it kind of reminds me of Helm's Deep.
That one's definitely very more Helm's Deep.
Yeah, but yeah, this was a great battle scene as well. Sokka came in clutch with his war balloon. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, they essentially like kamikaze like suicide bomb with that
Yeah,
thing. Uh yeah, they using all these clever inventions and oils in the balloon to fight off the Fire Nation. I think the highlight for me this episode is those Fire Nation tanks. Those things are cool.
yeah, they're big.
Like you flip them upside down, but then they just rotate and they're fine. They just keep going. And they can like climb up the mountainside. Those
That
are scary.
sounds impossible, but that's the Fire Nation.
I do I do like because obviously you see it from the outside and they're just like it's launching fire from like the gun, but then you see the inside and it's just a guy. Like
Yeah.
he's the one shooting the fire because he's a firebender.
No, that makes sense. But
Yeah,
yeah,
good stuff. A very ominous kind of cliffhanger setup for this one. The stinger is the Fire Nation's like, well, we lost, but check out this balloon, and then
yeah,
maybe
they
they'll cultivate air power now.
yeah. Now they have that war balloon or fire balloon now. But yeah, they might use that eventually.
Oh boy, will they!
That's pretty much it for this episode. I do have an interesting fact for this one. Some cable TV providers such as Comcast or Warner Brothers used to accidentally list this episode as the Southern Air Temple.
Oh, that's not right.
Is that
That's
right?
the
It's
other
the Northern.
episode.
Yeah. So they messed up.
Well, those idiots. Comcast, get it together.
I used to have Comcast. I remember the TV guide was pretty cool, or pretty easy to use.
When I was a kid, the cable, because I lived on the West Coast, the cable provider we had was called Cox.
Oh, what?
It was called Cox.
Cox? Like Brian Cox?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness! So we got Gatso and Cox.
Oh, don't mix those together.
All right. I guess that's how we get into this episode.
So we end this episode. Next week we'll be talking about the 3 episodes that all take place at the North Pole.
Yes, pretty much the season finales for season 1.
I'm excited.
But yeah, Skyler, where can they find you?
At the North Pole.
North Pole, Santa Claus, ho ho ho. You can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. You can follow me on Instagram, called Brahma Winter Podcast. I post clips there, as we mentioned before. And but yeah, and I guess I'll end this by saying,
You know what? I'll take this one, Abrar.
Okay, go ahead.
On the count of 3, we'll say jacket on, jacket off.
No, that does not do that.
1, 2, 3. Jacket
Jacket
on,
on, jacket off.
Oh no.